All right, check it out. So we've done some sewing in the past with him and some shirts, tailoring some shirts, taking them in a little bit, chopping them off, making them fit a little better. We're gonna do the same thing with these ERDL cammies. They're awful. They're kind of baggy from the knee down. They're large at the foot, so we're gonna taper that leg, and probably gonna hem them a little bit because they're a little bit long for me to wear out with just my regular boots on. So here's a shot before we do it. So, you know, they're kind of okay. And then when I get done, we'll put them on and show you what that looks like. I'll show you how we do it as well. I'll try to be decent with the recording of it so you can see how I'm doing it. It's pretty simple to do. Save you a lot of money too over time. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're going to start with turning the pants inside out. Okay, now I know for me, I like the opening at my leg to be about 8.5 inches, and I got that measurement off a pair of work pants that I had that fit. I like the way they fit around my foot and ankle real good. You can still get them over your boot real good. They weren't flopping around in that. So the first thing I do is I measure these, and that's about 10 inches, which is kind of what I expected. So we're going to go on the inside, on the crotch side, inside out, and I'm going to mark this back about 1.5 inches and make a mark, and then we'll run up here towards the knee, and we'll gradually taper from 1.5 inches out towards the knee here, like so. So I'm going to pause this and make some marks, and then align, and I'll show you, and then we'll put pins in them so it stays, and we'll sew it up.
All right, again, last 5 days, very active, and then you'll see headed up to Alaska, and you notice the chain headed across the Atlantic, all right, and then stuff going into Hawaii. All right, that's
I like to iron them, get them, make sure they're nice and flat before you start marking them up. And I'm just going to taper back to the first pleat in the knee.
The other day, I mentioned the fact that we had seen a train.
Okay, so get about 1.5 inches, taper back up here to about 3/4. You gotta find a pencil that marks your clothes the best. And they come in blue and white. I haven't seen anything else. I have used a ballpoint pen because it doesn't typically bleed through, and I might have to do that here if I can't see this. Yeah, let's try a pen. They're cammies. It's not like it would matter if it did. So this line I'm making is going to be my stitch line. Okay. I'll stitch that on an angle. Then I'll zigzag it afterwards, and then we'll cut the excess off. And then when we're done, we'll turn them up one and hem them. So I am, here we go. I am about, yep, 3/4 inch at the top, 1.5 inches at the bottom. So now we're going to do the other leg. All right, here we go. We're going to start at the knee on this one and work our way down. It keeps the majority of the material outside of the machine. We're going to kind of come in on a taper. Okay, I'm going to get to my line right there, and we're going to turn. As I go, I'll pull these pins out. I'm going to turn this and come straight down this taper. So again, this is another reason we iron all this and pin it, so it keeps everything, the two pieces of material, together nicely. So while we're still hooked up, I'm going to turn this and run back around the other way, but we're going to do a zigzag stitch. That way I can cut this excess off and not worry about it fraying too much. So let's come back down here. Okay, hit that, And we're going to go this way. Lay that down. I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to spin this around. Ideally, I would take this from the top again at the knee and do it. But we don't have to do that. There's not that much material on that side of the machine. Okay, so now we're going to place the presser foot, and I'm going to turn this over here. So I got a zigzag stitch, and we're going to run right alongside the initial stitch here. Back up a little bit. I don't want to cross over my initial stitch because that's my straight line. And we'll cut that off. Make sure my glasses are in the right spot so I can see that before I do it. Okay. Now before we forget, we want to run back to a straight stitch. Boom. Now come do this other side. I won't be able to make two passes. I'll run out of bobbin before I get there, I'll bet you. So, but we're going to run it out. Now this one will start at the ankle because it's the other leg of the pant. Keep the material out there. Oh, okay. I'm going to set this back up on the other side here, lay it out flat. We're going to cut the excess off, then we're going to hem them. So let me pause this for a minute. All right, so I'm going to use what they call pinking shears. They got teeth on them. I don't know if it matters for other material, but I use them for wool. And I cut wool material, it doesn't fray. They recommend you use pinking shears on wool. So when I do these, I just use pinking shears on all this stuff. I'm going to start down here. It's always hardest getting past the thick stuff. Try to hold that up where you can see it without cutting my stitches. I want to watch the back side because I don't want to cut into my stitching. And it's getting hard because we're getting into that seam. I may have to switch over to the other scissors to finish up here. We'll see. Okay. So basically all we did was get rid of all that extra material on the inside of the pant leg. We turn it over to look like this. Just like it should. So I'm going to do the other one, then we'll fold them up one and we'll just hem them. We'll hem them about 1 inch. All right, I'm going to pause this while I get the rest of this done. All right, here we go. Excess is cut off both legs. I'm going to roll them up one time. I'll leave the original hem in them and roll them up once. I don't mind if they're still going to be a little long on me. They were just a little bit too long. But I also know better than to get overzealous cutting material off. So I'm going to roll them up one, even Steven all the way around. And we're going to iron them. Put a nice crease in them. I'll put pins in them. and then we'll hem them. Ironed a nice crease in it. Okay. And put a couple pins in it. My grandkids are watching. There's Pop-Up's tomato. My son-in-law says they get a kick out of that. God, I wish they lived closer. I'd probably be worthless. I'd probably have to quit my job if they lived closer. I couldn't stand having to tell them I got to go to work. Should do it like they do it in other countries and like they did here in the States back before all the golden years. There's generational housing. Takes a village to raise a kid, right? Okay, so we're going to fold the other one up. We're going to do the other leg the same way. Since you see me do that one, I'm going to go ahead and pause this, get this one done, and get the machine set back up. I'm working on one end of the table here, trying to do a little better job videoing, so moving things in and out a little bit. Let me pause this. All right, so here we go. For doing these pant legs, we're going to pop that piece off the machine. I'm going to start right on the inside. I'm also got to remember to go back to my straight stitch. Okay, sometimes I forget to do that. Not like it matters. These are just work pants, right? Outside stuff. Here we go. All right, one hem. Looks good. I'm gonna pause this and do the other leg, and then we'll put them back on and see how they look. All right, check it out. Way better. That's the difference of 10 inches. Let's see if I can get up there. It's the difference of 10 inches and 8.5. 8.5 is perfect, right? So, yeah, and the length was good too, just turning them up one. So now I'll be able to wear these with boots without having to worry about blousing them because I'm dragging the heels on them. These are just right. All right, just remember, if a man can do it, you can do it. And it took me 20 minutes a night of filming this and doing this for you guys. It's not hard. I got a pair of British DPMs. I'm going to do the same thing with those. I don't need to taper the legs. They're just perfect. But we're going to hem them 1 inch on the bottom. I've already got them ready to go. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Silverback out.